Thank you, everyone, for subscribing to Infinitely Productions. If you have not done so, please click the bell and subscribe, and we hope you enjoy our content.
Each. Paul Castellano of the Gambinos had been indicted, but he was murdered on John Gotti's orders before the trial began. Angelo Leonardo, thanks to the Witness Protection Program, was freed from prison and relocated. He also admitted to receiving more than $1 million from the Justice Department. That kind of deal infuriates defense attorney Albert Krieger, who in defending John Gotti faced mob rat Sammy Gravano on the stand. Krieger says the government has given itself the right to buy testimony.
Well, you make the price high enough, and almost anybody is going to say anything in order to either reap a financial benefit, a liberty benefit, or whatever the government happens to be selling at the time.
Gotti prosecutor Patrick Cotter worked extensively with Gravano before he testified. He admits that some mob rats are a little too eager to please to show their new government bosses that they're worth the price.
A lot of these guys, you get to a point where you have to tell them to, look, just let me ask the questions, don't volunteer things, don't try to help me, just tell me what happened.
One surprising critic of the deals made with mob rats is a mob rat himself, Joe Dogs Iannuzzi.
They get a guy like Sammy the Bull that committed 19 murders and put him in your neighborhood to live and put John Gotti away, which is good to one point. But what did you gain? Sammy the Bull's going to commit more murders. He's going to get more trouble. He's a career criminal.
The statistics show that those people who have been professional criminals, by going through the Witness Protection Program, it has a better rate of rehabilitation than any other corrections program we know of. In fact, most of these people do not engage in criminal behavior in the future.
But the marshals will kick a rat out of the Witness Protection Program for less than committing a crime, and Joe Dogs ought to know. In 1993, he was invited to New York to appear on The Late Show with David Letterman. The Justice Department warned him not to make such a public move. Joe Dogs went anyway. But when he arrived at the studio, Letterman had canceled Iannuzzi's segment.
I said that Letterman thinks he's got a problem with that lady sitting waiting for him when he walks in the house. Well, he finds, walks home one night and he sees me sitting there.
The marshals dropped him from the Witness Protection Program, but it's thanks to Joe Dogs and his fellow mob rats that the government has obtained convictions against most of the Mafia's leadership in the last 10 years. The existence of the Mafia's bloody brotherhood is now commonly accepted as fact. But until the early 1960s, even the FBI didn't publicly acknowledge that there was a Mafia. That all changed in 1963, when one man broke the decades of murderous silence. The Mafia is a paradox for American justice. On the one hand, it sucks up millions of law enforcement dollars and man-hours every year. But it's also an outfit whose very existence is denied by its members. Mob rats have been the key to exposing this clandestine society. Joseph Valachi stunned the world in 1963 when he was the first to uncover America's Cosa Nostra.
What I'm telling you, what I'm exposing to you and the press and everybody, this is my doom.
Before Valachi testified, there were serious sociologists, people in the media that questioned the very existence of the mob. After Valachi's testimony in public, it became an accepted fact that there was a mob structure.
Valachi was a soldier in New York's Genovese crime family. Busted in 1959 on a narcotics charge, he ended up in federal prison in Atlanta, sharing a cell with his boss, Vito Genovese. But soon Valachi became convinced that Genovese thought he was an informer and wanted him dead. One day in the prison yard, Valachi made a preemptive strike.
He saw a man approaching him that he was sure was going to be his executioner, and at that point he grabbed a pipe and beat this guy to death. As he told me, after the first couple of swings, there was so much blood, you couldn't tell who the hell this guy was.
It was, in fact, the wrong guy. Valachi had killed a man whom he had mistaken for a known mob assassin. Now he faced a possible death sentence for the prison yard murder. A year after the killing, the aging mob soldier turned to the authorities and offered them his story. Agents interviewed him for more than a year. Then in September 1963 came Valachi's public performance. He appeared before a Senate subcommittee led by Arkansas Democrat John McClellan. There he told the world what he had told the FBI, that there was a mafia, complete with bosses, underbosses, and rituals of initiation, which Valachi was the first to describe.
He picks your finger. Ooh, the Godfather.
He had to hold a holy picture, burning holy picture, and repeat his oath of allegiance to Cosa Nostra and promise never to reveal its secrets, even in the face of death.
This is the way I burn if I expose this organization.
From his remarkable memory, Valachi pulled figures and dates for mob deals, battles, and executions. He mapped out entire family structures in New York and Buffalo. His information had a huge impact on both the underworld and the upper world. A few years after Valachi testified, the federal government legalized its triple threat against the mob: wiretapping statutes to allow eavesdropping, the Witness Protection Program to recruit informers, and the RICO anti-racketeering law. Naturally, the mob wanted Valachi dead, but they never got him. And although the federal government first suppressed a book based on the FBI's interviews, Peter Moss eventually published the Valachi papers from his own talks with the informer. Valachi died in prison in 1971.
The one thing that made him happy was the fact that Vito Genovese died in prison too, and died before him. The last message I got from Valachi that I can recall was, "You see, Peter, I told you this book would kill the old man."
Valachi and those who followed him have forever taken away the invisibility of the mafia. Their reasons may have been self-serving, but by exposing the mob's inner workings, the mob rats have made a unique contribution to American justice, and they have helped cripple the mob, perhaps permanently. The ethnic core of the mafia, Italian Americans only and others need not apply, reinforce the membership's pride and loyalty. In the wake of successful mob prosecutions, gangs built around other immigrant groups are moving onto the scene. These outfits, Asian, Hispanic, Jamaican, and others, have adopted the brutal methods of the Italian mob, but they have not shown the obsessive loyalty that kept the old mafia intact for so long. Leaders of some new gangs are already behind bars, put there with the help of turncoats from their own ranks. In fact, with its glory days long over, the mafia's last great legacy may be the enormous power of the federal government to strike back at organized crime.
Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel and check out more content. Feel free to give us your feedback and suggestions on who we should do next in the comments. This is Infinitely Productions. We love ya.